Venom, Let There Be Carnage, September 24th. Oh no.
Nah, we don't need to talk about that.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the ETTO Comic Cast for August of 2021. I had to check the year in the bottom corner of my computer there, so I don't know how I feel about that.
It's been a weird 18 months.
It's been a weird 18 months, that's for sure. Yes, it is August. This is the shortest time between recording these podcasts that we've ever had.
We're doing it. We're catching up.
Like 2 weeks.
We've
reset. And that is because Suicide Squad is out in 3 days from time of recording.
Whoa.
And we want to talk about a comic that is related to Suicide Squad, perhaps a Suicide Squad comic. In fact, we did pick a Suicide Squad comic. The word squad is starting to lose meaning for me.
What are the odds?
The one we picked is Suicide Squad 2019.
Yeah. And it had a tagline, Bad Blood.
Bad Blood.
Yeah,
that's what they used for the overall
the trade.
Big trade, as you can see here.
Yeah.
I think I'm holding it upside down. It's hard to tell because I got the thing off. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was upside down.
Yeah.
Lots of little notey thingies.
See those little tabs. Those tabs.
There we
Yeah. Which that was mainly just so I could note pages so I could bring up during this. This Suicide Squad 2019, written by Tom Taylor. Shout out
there
to
he
Tom
is.
Taylor. Finally we're doing
King.
our favorite Tom, of course, of the two. There's only two Toms.
It's true.
And he is our favorite. Sorry, King. But Tom Taylor lives in Melbourne.
Will and I were not
It's like, which Tom has he got?
Yeah. We were like, yes.
Nah.
Good.
You knew deep down.
I did. Yeah, I did. You did.
Yeah, so we're now doing a comic by one of the two Kings. We've done the other King in the first one. It only took us 8 months. Two King. Man, I'm confusing myself. We're at the second Tom, guys. It only took us 8 months.
There's not two Kings.
Not two Kings. There maybe is two Kings. Maybe Tom Taylor is a king of
Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And we have him here.
He's in Josh's mug.
If only. Yes.
I knew we did.
Josh is drinking him.
Tom?
Yeah. I do follow him on Twitter, and he was just playing pool with some of his friends in a random bar in Melbourne recently because he's vaccinated. So good on him.
Good job, Tom.
Yep, none of us are because we're not really allowed to be. But anyway, back onto the comics. Let's talk about Tom Taylor.
We're allowed now, right?
Oh,
they're trying.
Josh, you're old, so maybe.
I will also say I have a mouse on my head.
Oh, you do have a mouse on your head.
There we go.
Stuff. But yeah, Tom Taylor, what's he done? So Tom Taylor actually began his career as a playwright. He's been taking part in theatre since the age of 14. One of his plays, The Example, was adapted into a comic by Gestalt Publishing, an Australian publisher, an independent publisher, and I found out it's about an abandoned briefcase on a train platform, and they never leave the train platform. It's just like a man and a woman, and the mystery of the abandoned briefcase.
Great. I would watch the shit out of that.
I really want to read it.
Yeah. It reminds me of Phone Booth.
Yeah, totally.
The entire movie is in a phone booth. I like that movie. Not many people do, but I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Weird and dumb.
But yeah, so that was the last note I actually added, but it's at the top because we're going to talk about all the other stuff he's done now.
Sick.
And to start off, I wanted to talk about the duo that does the writer art for this, which is Bruno Redondo and Tom, of course, because they're my favorites. I love them so much. I think Joshy in the Discord asked why we were doing this comic, and I'd be lying if I said there was any reason other than I wanted to do a comic by these guys.
Yeah, good.
So they were like, it's nothing about like, oh, that's the characters or anything. No, I just like them.
Just good art.
So their work together they've done includes Darth Maul Death Sentence, which was done in 2012, which is one of the old Dark Horse Star Wars comics, set after season 4 of Clone Wars.
Right,
so,
cool.
When he meets Savage and they start doing their stuff.
Yep.
Is it linked?
It is like a direct follow-up to the end of season 4.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But it's only in the comics.
Only in the comics. Yeah, it's just like a
Sick.
small little side story. I actually read it like a week ago. I didn't realize it was written by these guys till I read it, and I was like, oh,
good.
that's nice.
Nice.
But it's a very good little story.
That's very cool.
Now part of the Legends stuff, but also maybe not because it's connected to Clone Wars. Who knows?
Dave Filoni just does what he wants with these. He'll pull upon it one day.
Yeah. They also did basically the entire Injustice comics run.
Yes.
Like the whole thing.
I have a
There's so many
signed.
of them.
Tom Taylor's signed one of my
Very good.
comics.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
This Suicide Squad series, and then the ongoing Nightwing series, which is my favorite comic at the moment. I may have said that so many times, but it's so good. There's like four or five issues of it so far. I can't wait till that's a collected issue and a collected thing, and more people read it, because like anyone I know who's read it is like, yeah, this is amazing. It's very very Matt Fraction, Hawkeye. So
Yeah, sick.
Yeah. In terms of other stuff, Taylor has done a lot of other stuff. A bit like Mark Waid. We're just going to power through some of this stuff. Includes Deceased, which is basically their Marvel Zombies thing. All new Wolverine, which introduced Laura Kinney / X-23 as the new Wolverine. And X-Men Red, which was like the last X-Men comic before their big reboot that they're on now and everything. Superior Iron Man, which was back in the early 2010s. He has that weird face mask thing that they put in the Avengers game.
The game,
a weird one to pick, but anyway. A number of other Dark Horse Star Wars comics, Blood Ties, Invasion, a bunch of other things. So like all before the Disney Marvel stuff. And then since under Marvel, he did the Star Wars Age of Resistance comics.
Yeah, right.
I don't know anything about them, but there seemed to be like one for each character that was in The Last Jedi, and people don't like that movie. So.
Well, the greatest thing to tie. And I don't know if you got this down there too, is the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man run of comics. I think he started, I don't know if he continued all through it, but one of them, which is one of, like, in recent years, the most, like, hard to get comic, which was like number 8 or something, that had Spidey and a thing called Spider Bite, and there's a very, very emotional, like, fictional story. I guess they all are fictional stories of Spider-Man and a terminally ill kid, and it's like legitimately one of the best. I feel like there's not much dialogue at all in it. I think it's pretty much visually, it's all illustrated, but definitely a good one to pick up as well.
Yeah, nah, he's such a good writer. He's doing like 5 different things currently. As I mentioned, he's doing Nightwing. He's doing a new Superman series, which like just started, focused on Clark's son. Batman miniseries called Batman the Detective, which is also like halfway through its thing. At the end of the year, he's doing a thing called Marvel's Dark Ages, which sounds really interesting. They've released a few previews of it. And he's also doing Deadpool Black, White, and Blood, which is one of their like lines they do where it's just black, white, and red. That they have for like Wolverine and Carnage as well, I think. So they have it. He's doing a Deadpool one at the moment. So he's a busy man. He's probably been writing a lot in his lockdown. He's many lockdowns down here. And he's also done some film and television stuff, including being the co-creator, executive producer, and head writer of animated show The Deep, based on a comic series he wrote for Gestalt, that publishing we mentioned earlier, which was commissioned by the ABC for Netflix, which I thought was a very weird...
Interesting.
This is not the American ABC. This is the Australian Broadcasting Corporation for Netflix. So I think it's
wild.
Yeah, I guess we just didn't have enough money to actually fully produce it. We're like,
totally.
We like the idea. We can't make this, but we'll give it to Netflix. And then, that's crazy.
But yeah, it's like
I'm gonna look that up.
Kids.
You said you think it's on the on the Netflix?
It definitely is in like other countries. I'm not 100% sure it is here, but I think it is because I couldn't. It didn't say anything.
If it was commissioned by the ABC, surely. Surely.
Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna have just look it up real quick now.
Let's do it.
Still there.
Thick.
Amazing.
Yeah. It looks a little bit. It looks like budget Pixar.
Yeah, a little bit. It does look
animation
like that.
style.
I don't know how amazing it is. You're a good comic writer, so I'm going to assume it's great. But it's definitely for kids as well, from what I can tell. Which is fine. We like.
So
them
we'll
as
watch
well.
it.
We like kids.
No, that's not what I said.
No.
Because we are kids. Damn
Yes,
it.
we are
Schoolsville
kids.
sucks.
We always watch kid
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, no, totally. We do.
Kid stuff is better than adult.
Honestly, it is. And just the last thing on Tom Taylor, he was also a part of the writer's room for the third season of Clever Man. Clever Man, which was an ABC superhero show kind of thing based on Aboriginal Dreamtime stories and stuff. But the third season never aired. So,
Damn.
Tom.
poor Tom. But that would have been
Poor
cool. I heard really good things about that show when it came out. I think my mum watched it and really loved it. I never actually got around to watching it, but imagine if he'd written a third season on it.
A comic book writer of some of the best comics writing on that. Yeah,
Australian
absolutely.
comic book writer writing on that kind of show would be very good.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
But yeah,
I blew it.
that's most of the stuff on Tom. We got a little bit on the few others who helped with these comics. So we have two artists. Bruno Redondo did the most of the stuff, who I mentioned. He's in the duo with Tom. And then Daniel Sampier did issue 4 and issue 7 and issue 8. Issue 4 is the only one that we read in this lot. Bruno's basically only done stuff with Tom Taylor. The only other thing I found was he did like 4 issues of Titans in 2019. So there you go. But I still think he's one of the best artists. He clearly just has a good working relationship with Tom, so they just do all their stuff together. And then Sampier has a bunch of DC stuff: Batgirl, Green Arrow, Mortal Kombat, and Injustice. All of these people worked on Injustice at some point, basically.
Good.
It was a very successful comic for them.
So. And there were a lot of them.
There were so many of them. Yeah. Adriano Lucas is the colorist, and he has done the colors for both Nightwing and Suicide Squad. Which I would say those are the two where like the art pops the most. So he probably deserves as much credit as Bruno Redondo does for how good those two books are in terms of like stylistically and art style.
Cool.
Because it kind of sets it apart. I mentioned I'd read the Darth Maul Death Sentence one recently, and the art in that is still wonderful, and you can definitely tell it's his style, but the colors don't pop as much, and it's a bit more muted and everything. So I think definitely Adriano Lucas adds a good amount to like Redondo's art and inking and stuff. The other thing I want to mention is that I think he also probably deserves credit for keeping the art really cohesive across the whole thing, because it's two different artists, which I feel like often when we have these things where there's like an artist jumping in for an issue and stuff, it can feel a bit disjointed because it's very clearly a different artist. But I think I barely noticed it. In fact, I think in my notes later, I think I wrote something about Bruno in the one issue that
right.
It was
because I'm not gonna lie, when you said that there was a swap over for one of the issues, I totally wouldn't have noticed that at all.
Totally. And I think that comes down a lot to the color as well, because it's keeps a theme across all of it. So shout out to Adriano Lucas. Probably doesn't get as much of a shout out as the other guys, but deserves it. Very much deserves it. But yeah, that's the gang that made these. There's editors and all those other people, you know. But we can only talk about so many because eventually got to start talking about the comics. Which
although they're probably actual meat, so
sure.
Yeah, true. But the comics start with issue 1, which is weird.
What?
What is happening?
I was making a joke. Josh made a joke. We were all floored by Josh's joke, and then I continued to make my joke. That's what just happened.
It was very funny.
Good.
It was very good. Number 1.
The comic started issue 1.
I'm sorry for...
That's okay. That's okay.
I don't know, interrupting the flow and stealing the thunder and...
It's fine.
Whatever.
It's what makes these nighttime recordings truly special.
So tired. It's been a big day. Lots happened today.
It has been a big day.
Yes.
Yeah, it has been. But yeah, issue 1. Shout out to the cover, which I think on the full issue says, Harley says, by the end of this issue, half the team will be dead, which is a good way to start off a Suicide Squad thing.
Absolutely.
That's the best vibe for Suicide Squad, is when you know people are actually going to die. versus 2016.
Yeah, totally. I have like a strong feeling if there's any narration in the new movie that exact line will be said. Because for all we've heard, it's like there might be two people at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Like that seems to be the go. And so I wouldn't be surprised if something like that said fairly early on.
Yeah, totally.
It'll just be like Harley and Deadshot again.
Yeah. Just don't kill Boomerang. I want Boomerang. I know they'll probably kill him because he's in the lineup that's like that lineup is probably gone. He's very good.
Yes.
He is very good. He is very good.
Is it the same guy?
Yeah.
Jai Courtney?
Jai Courtney.
It's so weirdly attached but not attached to that film. I still find it hilarious that they're like, we're gonna continue, but it's also its own thing. I can't wait to see it this week and just be like, what? I can't.
Does this exist together?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Will, come with Ben and I. We're going next Saturday.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, get down here. But yeah, I will say the covers, the actual cover's very busy with all the logos and the text bubbles and stuff. It's wonderful. In the little trade I've got here, all that's gone. And it's actually just lovely pieces of art. So I'm kind of like, while it's cool having Harley saying that on the front of the cover, it's also a bit like, I kind of wish you just left it nice and clean. Some really, I think issue 3 is one where like the art is very nice and clean, but it's like covered up by a bunch of stuff later on.
Yeah, right.
I do wonder why, like, it happens on comics, not often, but you know, you see it and you're like, that's weird. Like, why do you have all this text? I think one of the Black Widow comics that I bought recently just has like, it looks like comic panels all the way across, and every single one has a different quote in it. I'm like, this isn't where this is meant to be.
It's an interesting choice, especially when you have like the blurb. Like, often you have like a blurb at the start of every issue anyway to do all that stuff and do all that stuff.
Yeah,
and like we've talked about how some of those can be really good. So
yes,
put the humor in there.
It is a bit weird, but as I said, I did like the little thing she was saying at the start of this. And Dolphin Pants, our regular contributor to this comic cast, wanted to say at this point that I'm only going to say it once, but the artwork is nice, and I'm going to say it many more times than once.
Every time.
But yeah, I was just getting that in for Dolphin Pants now. Dolphin Pants likes the art, so just remember that as we go through.
Dolphin Pants.
We'll never forget.
We intro into Fremantle, Western Australia.
I like the amount of Australia in this run was shocking
so
in the best way.
Yeah.
It's shocking and also not.
Yeah.
Written by Tom Taylor. Of course, he's going to set basically half the series in Australia.
The thing I love, and we'll get to it later, is just how like clearly Australian it is as someone who lives in Australia, lives in Melbourne. There's all these little references that are just wonderful that no one else will understand. I can't wait to talk about one of them later, but we won't get too far ahead of ourselves. But yeah, it starts in Fremantle, which is only famous for having a footy team that's also not very good, called the Dockers, because the only other thing they're famous for is having docks. And yep, so we start just at the docks with some ships, as to be expected if you're in Fremantle, and an army guy. And we start getting introduced to all these random characters that we've never heard of, and they all have wonderful little intro cards. Dolphin Pants mentioned here that do these characters pick their own names because it feels like it? I think they likely do. I listed them all down in my notes here, but did you guys have any ones you wanted to highlight in particular?
I did love TNT. That's probably the best one. That's such a clever name.
I did find it funny that Wink was also her disappearing noise.
Totally.
Like,
totally.
Her name is Wink, and then whenever she disappears, it's like Wink. Always great.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah, no, I had a few favorites. The airy flight, able to talk to birds, but that's not in any way useful.
Yes.
As Will said, TNT, born in Argentina, explodes.
That's his thing. That's all he got.
And what was the other one I liked? Jog, born France, speedster, limited to short bursts.
Yeah, I love that. Limited.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
But yeah, we get introduced to all of them. I'm sure we'll chat about them at various points. There's a lot of them though, so I'm not going to go through all of them now. But yeah, even like I got 4 pages into this. I think I messaged the group chat we're all in and was like, I'm 3 pages in and I love this already. Because there was the page where Wink drops the guy out of the sky and you just see him on the side falling all the way down, bonking his head, and just like blood splatter.
That's such a good
happening on the panels.
It's such a good frame too, because on the side you see him falling down, but there's all of this dialogue happening on the other side. There's tiny little section where you just see him falling.
Yeah, it's kind of thing like
great little frame.
You don't notice on the initial glance, and then you're like, oh my god, it's amazing. Again, these guys so good. I love they do it a bunch in the Nightwing stuff as well, even more. I'm gonna say that a lot. I apologize, but go read Nightwing. I'm honestly hoping there's like some reason to read a Nightwing comic, but I feel like I'm gonna have to...
the Gotham Knights game.
Gotham Knights.
We'll read it for that.
Oh yeah,
read it for that.
Or like Titan season 5.
That's true, because I feel like the game might be Court of the Owls or something.
Yeah.
But
I was about to say.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no. Then there's also a page with TNT that we get here. TNT, love. He has a line where he's like, "I've been holding this in for days," and it's almost like he's just holding in shits. But it's his explosions, which I really appreciated. Unfortunately, he dies like at the end of this issue, as is the Suicide Squad
series.
Some kind of Suicide Squad. And yeah, they're taking out these nuclear submarines, which Dolphin Pants points out. Wait, they were Australia's nuclear subs? I cannot imagine us showing off nuclear subs like that. I just assume they're American. In saying that ScoMo with a nuke is terrifying. Correct.
Fair. That's so true. Our like armed forces would not have anything near this.
Nuclear capabilities we do not have.
Or maybe they did, and this is what happened.
I think it did say at some point that they got them from America.
Yeah.
Like, and America sent them over or whatever, so...
Dolphin Pants assumed they were American. I was also like, knowing what I do about global politics and stuff, America has a lot of military bases based in Australia, and there's a lot of that stuff going on. So it was pretty easy to go in my head that, like, they just gave us some nukes. I mean, as you do, just give Australia nukes. Why would you?
Why not?
Like, it's not... I guess I was like, maybe we're, from like tactical standpoint, we're closer to China, but like even then, not even. We're still.
And you'd want to make sure you send them pretty slowly as well.
Yeah, and also not to Fremantle.
All they've got is docks.
And
a football team.
And an unsuccessful football team. But yeah, that's the whole...
Damn it, you beat me to it.
That's the whole section in Fremantle. Surprisingly, it goes on for a while. I didn't expect to spend this long in Fremantle in this comic, but there we go. Then we get the introduction of the actual Task Force X, which I assumed some of these people were part of the Task Force X, but we learned that they're not, because we have the classic, a bit more of a classic team, still some weird choices, more of the fun cards. I can run through these because there's only like 6 of them.
Yeah.
So we got the Shark, just called the Shark, not King Shark.
Yeah, it's weird.
Dolphin Man's note here was, wait, the Shark, he's a fucking king. Which I do appreciate. But for the Shark, they just say he's telepathic and hungry, which to be expected. I will say I did miss the like Harley Quinn show, Sylvester Stallone style funny King Shark in this. He's just a bit of an asshole.
Yeah, this guy sucks.
Fine. Yeah. We get Zebra Man, instant favorite for me. Got telekinesis, force field, controls magnetism, and best of all is Stripey.
Yes. But why?
But why is he a zebra?
Or we won't.
What's the line that Harley Quinn says? She's like, I just don't get the zebra theme. Like, do you bitten by a radioactive zebra? Like, do you like zebras?
As an afterthought.
Very good. We got Deadshot, who I'm so used to seeing Will Smith as Deadshot that this was just a shock to me. Just this random white dude. but he's one of the greatest marksmen on Earth, and currently quietly on the verge of a breakdown.
There you go. And it's a different Deadshot, isn't it? It's a different one to the normal one.
No, it's the same.
No, it
one.
was
Floyd
it was
Lawton.
Floyd Lawton, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
Floyd Lawton, because he always has the kid. He always has the kid in every single Deadshot appearance.
It's always like, you're doing it for your kid, aren't you?
I'm getting mixed up with Arrow, Deathstroke.
Yeah, that's
Blade.
That's what you always. That's how it always goes.
Don't worry, you've got another one. Whatever character Idris Elba's playing, it'll just get added to the rotation.
Oh,
of
Bloodsport.
I don't know, man.
Bloodsport. It's
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't read DC. I don't have this in my head.
Yeah. That's what I do like about this comic is it's very much like none of us really read DC, but I felt like I could follow it completely because there were so many new characters and they just acknowledged that they had like their Harley Quinn and their Deadshot, and then the rest they were just like, yeah, these just
They're here.
They're here.
I thought a Sita of the OG team was basically Cara Dune.
Oh yeah, totally. Her little
Yeah.
thing was strong and angry, which is just Cara Dune.
Cara Dune.
Yeah. We got Magpie, skilled thief, very nervous, totally out of her depth. She has the line a few times where she's like, "I'm just a thief. I'm not qualified for this." Harley Quinn, doctor, scrapper, violent, inappropriate. Sums it up pretty well.
Pretty good.
Cavalier, just this weird pirate sword man. Expert swordsman, sometimes thinks he's a musketeer. He isn't.
So
Very
good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great way to introduce all the characters for sure.
Yeah.
And we learn here that the revolutionaries, the other team, are just fed up lefty teens, basically. They're just fed up with the adults taking control of the world. And so they're doing something about it, which I can get behind. Maybe their methods aren't always 100% correct, but you can see where they're coming from.
I feel like they did everything they were doing was kind of okay until they killed the prime minister or whoever that dude was.
Yeah, totally.
It's like, you can blow up nukes because whatever. Don't kill a man.
But that wasn't intentional, was it? Because the
I
arm
think
got hacked.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I guess so. But they didn't seem too phased.
that's true.
They were like,
they did not.
Lol.
Yeah. But yeah, I will actually just bring up because I forgot to bring it up, and I'm going to show it off anyway because I have to. This is the.
Did I miss something? An arm got hacked. So we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. That's later on. This is the page.
Right.
The page I was talking about with the guy falling down the side. And, it's very good.
Very good.
And then that's the next. That's spoilers.
Oh my god!
I do love.
Oh my god!
I do love the fact that every intro of every issue, kind of like the thing. It's just like Suicide Squad, but it's all in some sort of silhouette of like an intense thing occurring.
But back to issue 1. Jumping back for a second, the revolutionaries get captured in a very pretty sunset. The first of many pretty sunsets, which I do appreciate. We learn that Amanda Waller is quitting, and we have this guy called, I believe, Locke, L-O-K. Just
how I read it.
Again, random evil white guy. Not particularly interesting. And who gets punched through the head again? Someone gets punched through the head.
I think the swordsman.
The sword. No.
Yeah.
The swordsman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of people die. Also, Finn dies, who is telepathically connected to Scale, and it's very sad. I'm very sad for Finn, and I'm also very sad for Magpie, but I'm most sad for TNT, who just after one of the best introductions just gets offed straight away. Very sad.
Such a great name as well.
Yeah. I forgot to mention that King Shark kills the Scale. Man, there's so many characters going on here. But yeah, King Shark just like bites Scale in half. And
there's a lot more brutal in this.
Dolphin Man says, "Fuck yes, that's why he's the king. Eat that Atlantean." And I fully, though I would stop reading your comments, but there's some good ones later. But I fully disagree with that.
I feel like we missed. Did we miss that the Suicide Squad were sent by Locke to get these guys? I'm not sure if we mentioned that.
I thought they were vaguely set by Locke and Waller at this point, and then they revealed that Waller's quitting. Yeah.
But that's why all these people are dying and King Shark's eating people and stuff, because it's meant to be two teams going at it. I don't think we've mentioned.
Battle of the Fittest.
I don't think we've mentioned why they came together.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fair.
No, That's all good. Yeah, no, we
Made
jump
it.
back and forth a lot in that issue. But it's a good first issue. It's a lot. It's very packed full of things, but sets the tone very well. For us to jump into issue 2, where it just starts with bang, 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 and everything's going on.
Yeah.
So much is going on. We have, as you can see here, a dead
There it is.
president. It's just, it's brutal. And I do appreciate it because, like, obviously sets the tone for the Suicide Squad kind of thing very well. You want it to be bloody, you want it to be brutal. But it's also like, I feel like part of the issue you get into with these kind of things is that it's often quite gratuitous and all that. And I do feel like they managed to steer away from that pretty well in this.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like it all seems to be largely purposeful for the story rather than just like gory for the sake of gory. But
I will say the like medias res or however it said. Every time it happens in a comic book, and it's usually like 1 or 2 issues into like a new run, I'm just like, okay, I know this is like not how it's going to pan out. Yeah. And so whenever I open it and it's like yesterday, I'm like, fuck,
it's always
start there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will admit, like, the first time I read through it, I completely didn't notice they were killing the president. I just kind of like spaced through that page, and then I read Dolphin Pants' notes later, and I was like, oh, they teased that earlier on. But I think actually reading it like that was probably better, so I don't blame you for feeling like that. Because I felt like it made the reveal at the end better.
Totally. Yeah, well, it just made it more confusing as well. Like, having seen it at the start, I was like, okay, cool. Like, whatever. Yeah.
I guess it's like, it's just a way that they were able to start with action.
Yeah.
Because I feel like maybe early on in this, there's just not a whole lot going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just like, how do we like pull people in for a second issue?
Yeah. And they do like starting these with action and then calming them down. So I think it's probably like a good way of doing that, especially with the big Suicide Squad flashes.
I was about to say, because you need that big, like, intense moment inside the...
Totally. Invincible.
Absolutely.
That was the one I was thinking of when I was talking about gratuitous violence. Yes. It's similar to Invincible, where I feel like it's not, like, it's always done pretty well. But yeah, basically, we have that early hit of them killing the president. Then we flash back to Task Force X HQ. King Shark just is a butt to Finn, whose brother he just murdered. He's an arsehole. Dolphin Pants says Shark is an innocent king. Anything but innocent.
You're wrong this time, Dolphin.
Yeah. But then like a minute later does concede that eating a co-worker is pretty bad for team bonding. Which,
true. It's true. Sorry, did we also sort of not mention that Task Force X or the Suicide Squad captured these other guys and now they're combined? I don't remember us actually saying that.
I think I
happened.
briefly mentioned, I was like, the revolutionaries are captured in the sunset, but that was all I said. So No,
now
totally.
they're all a Suicide Squad together.
Yeah. So they're all in the Suicide Squad.
Even though they were just pitted against each other.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for mentioning that, Josh. This is what happens when Tired Ben writes the notes and forgets to put things in. But yeah, so they're all back together at the HQ. They're kind of having to deal with each other and the dynamics between all of them. And then they all get sent on a mission by Locke to a country called, I think I pronounced this right, Badnesia. Which I think
is it a real one?
It's not a real country, no. I think it's supposed to be somewhere in Asia. The weird thing with DC, because, like, obviously in Marvel Comics, I mean, I guess in Marvel you have, like, Wakanda and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But it tends to be more grounded in, like, our real
New York
world
and stuff.
It's mostly New York and Queens and...
Whereas with DC, they have Metropolis and Gotham and all that, which are, like, allegories
versions of...
for
American
cities,
and then they go to Australia.
Fremantle.
There's no alternate here.
No.
So, Badnesia was first appeared in Flash Comics #1 in January 1940.
The first Flash comic. Wow.
The first Flash comic.
What the heck?
It's been around for a little while.
It's not just a random place. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we get what happens at this point? I think we
I need
get
to read that issue now. I
Yeah.
want to find out why.
Flash just runs there.
does he run all around
Probably.
the world? He probably
That's
runs all
probably
around the
it.
world.
He probably just
through
runs
Bad
there.
Amnesia.
To different places.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. So yeah, they go on the Bad Amnesia mission. They're all getting ready in their helicopters. This is when I agree that I personally take the stance that Wink is the best character in this. I think Wink is wonderful. Just blinking in and out and doing all kinds of shenanigans. But I do like Airy as well with the wings. And they have a very cool queer relationship. And Airy is non-binary as well, which I'm very keen for. And sorry, I'm reading my notes, and my notes are not good for this issue. So then, they all go to Bad Amnesia, manage to capture the president, I think, but there's a second.
Wink just goes in and comes out.
Wink just goes in.
They're like, "Oh, how are we going to get in there?" And she just in, out. I've got him.
Yeah, totally.
Like, okay.
So they go in, grab the president, and then Wink blinks them out. They go into a sewer, and then they come across some soldiers who are trying to stop them from taking the president out. And my favorite bit of this, which I am going to bring up, is there's just this Wink. It's like how do I describe it? It's basically, what's her name? Osita. Osita is basically like just standing up against this guy and is like Wink range, and then Wink blinks behind the guy, pushes him forward, and then blinks out and just punches him. And I'm like, man, that is cool. That is good use of powers. I appreciate that a lot.
They are such a cool team.
Yeah.
They have such cool, crossing in and out powers, and they just seem to know how to work with each other.
I think that's the thing I like about these revolutionaries, is they've clearly set them up that they've been like doing this stuff for a while, and they all work very well together and everything. So it's like the synergy between them is great, and then you chuck like Harley Quinn and Deadshot into it, and they're just kind of like, nah.
I think there's a point where Harley's just like, these guys are better than we ever were or ever will be. Like, they already know what they're doing.
Yeah. And then we get the first scene from back in earlier in the issue where the president is shot. We get the robotic arm hack, which, Josh, I think you said you missed. Basically, what happened?
I thought it was just her.
No. Let me, hang on. I don't have it up, but I'm pretty sure.
Please.
Double check. Because I'm pretty sure what happens here is, I've forgotten her name already. Osita?
Yep.
Is that correct? Her arm gets hacked by someone because it's robotic. So yeah, she picks up like a weapon and everything. And then her arm like makes it point it at herself. She says it's starting to say it's an ambush, and then shoots herself. And then, she's like fighting it a bit, and she's shooting around the president to like try and get them to run away. She's like, this is your chance. I'm fighting it off. And then eventually, she shoots the president, but she's clearly doing it against her will.
Right. Okay. Because what I thought, maybe Will thought the same.
I think so as well. Yeah.
But because later we find out why they don't want this guy in. Because he's been pushed, well, whatever reasons. But yeah, I thought that she was doing it like shooting around the president and making all this noise because Locke is listening in and couldn't see them. Like he can see via satellites and stuff. But he couldn't see inside the sewer, so he can hear them. So they're going, it's an ambush, and she's shooting, pretending that she's like actually, shooting at these soldiers and stuff.
No, you are,
and then goes,
correct. I read this completely wrong.
Cool, yeah, and then goes, shh, don't say anything, Deadshot, and then kills the president because that was the revolutionaries' goal all along.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah? Okay, cool.
No,
that's how I read it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
Sick.
okay. And then I will just point out, this is irrelevant from how I interpreted it. I do love just a good little silhouetted kill.
Yes.
Headshot.
Love that.
Yeah.
Always very good.
Yeah. Very, very cool.
But yeah, man, that makes so much more sense with this comic now. I think I must have really turned my brain off for this issue because, as I said, I was looking through my notes trying to do the summary, and I was like, "What?
Yeah.
What
am I saying?"
I also just want to go back to the start of this, where, or when they're heading towards the country or the island or whatever it is, and King Shark and Finn are swimming there together.
Yeah.
After they've just had a pretty huge fight where Finn punches King Shark in the face and knocks out one of his teeth. And I noticed it even before they brought it up. I kind of wish they didn't bring it up. But he's wearing a shark tooth necklace.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I really, really freaking wish they didn't mention it and it was just visual humor. If you were paying enough attention.
No, totally.
I felt very clever. I was like, I noticed something this time.
No, I'm glad you finally noticed something.
It's your turn, Josh.
That's it.
Dolphin
But
Pants
then they brought it up anyway, so I could be lying.
said that he wanted the King Shark tooth necklace, and I'm just going to tell you, Dolphin Pants, you can just get a tooth necklace anywhere.
You can do that.
That hard.
We'll ship one to you. It's fine.
But yeah, no. So that is very cool. I did like that little note. I like their little back and forth that they have, which comes to a head in the next issue.
Certainly does.
Issue 3. President's down. President is dead. There's this thing that Bruno Redondo does across all his comics, which I'm going to bring up here as well. He like adds this kind of motion blur, or sometimes it's depth of field, whereas you don't get a lot in comics. It's often like a lot of just like either if it's you're doing motion, it's a lot of lines, which he uses here as well, but there's like actual blur going on, or like depth of field. As you can see here, it's just like block colors and that kind of thing. And there's like not a lot of, they just reduce detail as you go further back rather than blurring anything. But he has this funny thing that he does it across like a bunch of these issues, but then also in Nightwing and stuff where he actually like blurs panels. So I think he's really, I don't know if it's just cool because I don't see it anywhere else in comics or if it is actually cool, but I like it. I just wanted to shout it out.
It very much stands out because everything else is very in focus, you know, like very clear. And then you just have this one thing that's like, it almost looks like you're looking at a 3D movie kind of thing without glasses on. You're like, what?
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And I did want to mention at the start here, Rock, very upset about his task force messing up, killing the president, which, as we have now established, is intentional and not a hacked arm. I just love how much more sense that makes to my theory. So but in my head, that's the hacked arm is canon. It makes no sense in the story, but it's canon. But anyway, he smacks the desk, and the thing I really liked is that he afterwards he has shards of glass in his hand as he's putting down, just like resting them on the table, which I thought was very cool. That's like. That's one of those tiny little details that you notice that you're like, not a lot of people would bother to do that. But it's very cool.
It's like how Marvel do the follow-ups like halfway through the movie or even movies later with, you know, orange slices from Civil War to Endgame. Yes.
Fucking cheeseburgers.
Cheeseburgers.
I mean, just follow through on hands. Whenever they freaking show Cumberbatch's hands, and he's still got like fucked up scars.
Still got scars and stuff.
Amazing.
Amazing. Like, the fact that they would have had to do that makeup every day, no matter what, just in case it was in shot.
That's like
so just going on a bit of a tangent for a second. I've been watching the X-Men movies. You may ask, why have you been watching the X-Men movies? I don't know. I've never really watched most of them, so I was like, why not? But like, I think in the second one. Which is actually okay. X2, not the most terrible of movies. Nightcrawler's in it. Hilarious accent. But anyway, his makeup in that is insane, and it was just making me think all over again. Like, obviously they do it for like Batista and all those people, but like the amount I was reading up afterwards and seeing like that you're in like 6 hours a day of makeup, and then you have to shoot everything and all that. And I'm like, man, that just like I appreciate it, but just do CGI or something. I feel bad for them.
Totally. It always,
What do you do? What do you do for 6 hours a day when you're not allowed to move?
Yeah.
It's like lockdown.
Fuck that.
That's true.
It's just 6 hours a day of lockdown.
Almost.
No, that he's really wet in that movie.
He's very wet.
He's very wet. But no, mainly what watching those movies has made me want is just like give me MCU X-Men. I don't care if it's like not that great. I just want to see how they fit into this because they're such cool characters like Nightcrawler and Jean Grey and goddamn Cyclops, man. You're such a doofus.
Yeah. I look, we've got to get back. But the one thing I can't see them in the MCU purely because before like Loki, there was just never a space that people existed in the way that like the X Mansion is. So it's like
100%, and it's like it makes, especially I've been reading a lot of X-Men comics as well recently. It makes me realize how like they're just they're so entrenched within the universe of Marvel as well that I'm like, how do you just randomly introduce them into?
For sure,
it's got to just be multiverse. Once all this dust settles, it's just got to be. They've always been here. We're fine.
I thought I thought the WandaVision House of M like kind of thing would have been a better way of doing it. But anyway, that's a separate conversation. Let's move back to Suicide Squad. Of course, the one time we do a DC comic, we can't help but
just talk about Marvel.
And X-Men of all things.
Yeah.
One we never talk about.
We don't care.
X2, all right movie. Anyway, Team A goes to... I've forgotten the name again. Badnesia, that's the name. So there was the Team B was last issue, but now we get Team Bad Knees. And we get into... this was when I felt like I got introduced to Six. They do introduce him in the earlier thing, but he barely like shows up at any point.
He doesn't do a whole lot.
Deadly Six, and that's because his power is 6 deadly sins, because he doesn't want to weaponize lust, which I thought was cool. And I was also like, he's just Mark Strong from Shazam, but like actually cool.
That's true. That was the whole thing. It wasn't just a smoke monster.
It's not just smoke monsters. In this one, it's just pink weird stuff.
Or coming out of his chest too.
Yeah.
Well, coming out of his chest. I will say it is weird. Like, I guess it is kind of like, how do you visually show sin? It's deadly sin, the 7 deadly sins. But at the same time, like, maybe we come up with something a bit more interesting than dust and long-tongued monsters. And anyway, just a thought for you guys, DC. I know you'd like to get stuff from your community. We're here. We've got ideas. Board.
It's true.
Maybe we just have to go see Tom. We can go chat to Tom.
Go chat to Tom. He does so much stuff with DC. Yeah,
well, he would have created this character. Did any of these characters exist before this comic?
I think he created them.
Yeah.
We can chat to him. Maybe we need to help him out.
Yeah.
We can find him his big break.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while we're at it, Marvel, you can't just use the same smoke effects and particle effects for any magician. You should actually come up with interesting ways to show magic.
Please, for the love of God. As you add more magicians, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. Loki and Scarlet Witch are the same thing. It's just a huge hint. God damn it. So disappointing.
Oh, God damn. You're so right. Anyway, let's get back to Suicide Squad again.
Team A.
Team A. We have a magnificent speedster page. This brought me Quicksilver vibes from the
X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I have that written down. I have got Quicksilver vibes.
Yeah, totally.
Right there.
But again, it's kind of, I think it's a bit what we talked about with Black Widow, where like translating that kind of stuff to a comic isn't always the easiest, but I feel like it's done really well here.
The good little vignettes. It's very good, and just a mixture of like silhouettes and close-ups.
I really like the kind of white and orange frames and the one shot of him drinking water.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like single panel of him drinking water adds so much character to it. The rest is all like action, but just having him drink water makes it feel like you're like following him along as he's going through the slow time. So I appreciate that a lot.
And that's a very like Fraction type thing, Matt Fraction, Hawkeye kind of thing.
Totally.
Like just add like a little joke for no reason. Could have done without it, but you know.
Good.
We've said it so many times. There's a few Fraction vibes from these comics.
There is. And also a really cool thing is the circle from the third panel, and then it kind of loops around.
Oh my goodness, I never noticed.
True.
It's like you can see his arc.
Oh, it's
That
like an
is
actual spiral.
beautiful.
Yeah, which is then in the second to last row, and that's basically what that shape is. That kind of wide shot. It's the same
God
spiral.
damn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
that's
job.
so cool.
Good job, Bruno.
Good
That
job,
is
Bruno.
sick.
That
My
is, that is
goodness.
very cool. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just noticed it now.
I
Yeah.
did see that. Was it the fifth line down, second panel where he's got the full line? I saw that and was like, oh, that must be like almost an amalgamation of everything I've just looked through. But I didn't notice the whole curve on
It's
top
all
of
there.
that. Like that is sick.
Yeah,
Very cool.
very good.
Well done.
Very good. It is funny because I was just looking in the Discord today, and one of our lovely patrons, Joshy, was talking about how we're going to vehemently disagree on the art in Fractions Run, and we keep saying how much we love that kind of vibes. So I'm
Good
sorry
luck,
again, Joshy, but we like this. You may not, but that's fine. We can have different opinions. It's each to their own.
That's right.
Oh man, I'm so proud of how I segued that, and now that I said it, I
So
ruined it.
smooth.
I
I was going to start clapping, but no one would hear it.
Oh
that's
no,
all
I
good.
heard that. I heard that.
Yeah.
that
Really?
time.
Yeah.
And now I can't
now
hear
it's
it.
fine. Now it's fine.
Maybe it was just soft enough.
Yeah.
How's that?
I can get like I'm getting like little bits of it, but
There you go.
anyway.
Claps.
And then we have King Shark and Finnegan. And
Finnegan.
Finnegan. I do really like this little bit. I like their little back and forth dynamic. I did not expect it to end this quickly though, because King Shark gets murdered by sharks. Dolphin Pants, our resident King Shark lover, said at this point, "No, do not kill the king. I will end this comic now." And then the next comment was, "Fuck you all. I'm going to hate read this now."
And he did.
Maybe it's not King Shark, and maybe it is just
Maybe
another
it
character
is
called
the
Shark.
Yeah.
Because, like, can you kill King Shark? Like, does that mean he's dead in DC now?
It's pretty ambiguous.
It is pretty ambiguous.
You can.
That's
I guess
probably-
it back after that.
Yeah.
Guess so.
But
I mean, there's a few characters in this that are pretty, like even the Magpie. She's fairly prominent in DC Comics. Like she pops up from time to time. So it's like it's a thing of the Suicide Squad to kill pretty B tier people, and it's like we can bring it back later. It's okay.
Sure.
I will bring up this page though because it is also another very.
It's pretty ambiguous. You can't tell. He could be fine.
He could.
I also just want to point out to Dolphin Pants that that Will just pretty much called King Shark a B tier.
A B tier character.
So
I did.
I just wanted to point that out. So
my
Dolphin
thing.
Pants, you know who your favorite host is.
Yeah. Me.
It's me. My favorite part of this page. It's a very good page. I like it a lot. I like the splatter of blood. And all that stuff, but just the little tap of the shark. It's just a smiling little shark. It makes me very happy.
Very happy.
So good.
It's just such a dark page, and then there's just a little smiling shark in the corner. It's delightful.
Yeah, it's the death of the B tier character, and then you bring that back around.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say on that, I do appreciate as a lover of King Shark, how he has kind of shot to fame from nowhere.
Totally.
Yeah.
He was in like Flash for like a couple episodes, but he was just the classic like evil like we get in this. And then we had him in Harley Quinn and wonderful in Harley Quinn. Best character in Harley Quinn. And then got announced in the Suicide Squad game, I believe.
Yep.
Was that before we
that was during Harley Quinn times for sure.
Which was an interesting choice. And then we also found out he was in this movie and is voice acted by Sylvester Stallone, which is the best thing
Insane.
ever. But he's definitely, I would say, Will, if anything, he's rising from B to A.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
It's just not in this comic because he's a dick in this.
No,
He's a dick.
You know what he did. You know what he did.
You know what he did.
He's the Tony Stark of this comic run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will hates King Shark confirmed.
That's it.
But moving on to
what
the Palace.
he did.
I know what I did.
Moving on to the Palace.
You guys aren't meant to hear that. This is for Dolphin
you're
Pants.
covering your mouth.
So sorry.
That's right.
What is, I just whacked my arm against my table.
Oh, no.
I was trying to be funny and
This
do a
podcast is off the rails.
Talk to us about the palace,
This
man.
episode, man.
We need to stop recording this late at night, but also we need to keep recording this late at night because it's
Absolutely.
wonderful. So the palace, it's very pink and blue and green, and I really like those colors. That's my notes
Nice.
about this. There's a panel where we have Ares' wings that are just against like a night sky, which I just want as a wallpaper. I probably won't get it, but I want
I'm
it.
not gonna lie, that color scheme is basically the background of Will's room right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's pinks, there's blues, and there's
Like an aqua.
kind of an aqua green.
We can
at the bottom.
actually compare it right now
Yeah.
because I have the comic prepared.
There you
This
go.
is one I prepared
It
earlier.
really is. It
is
really
actually
is.
kind of-
It's
yeah,
Will's.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. Yep. It
Planned
fits.
ahead, William.
It honestly
And-
fits everything we've got going on this screen very well.
That's true.
Good.
And this is just another panel that Ben, it must be make so much more sense now when tied back to the president thing about missing.
Oh yeah, no,
and-
this 100% makes more sense. So what we find out is that Ares' mum is the other badass. Not the other badass. Is the badass. Is the other president. And this does make a lot more sense. I mean, it was kind of like I kind of knew that they were trying to do stuff with presidents, but for some reason it didn't click in me that that was what was happening.
Yeah.
But it does make a lot more sense. And then we get what's Ares' partner's name? Wink.
Blink.
Blink is
Wink.
the
Wink.
X-Men. Speaking of X-Men.
Yeah, totally.
So then Wink meets Ares' mum for the first time, which is a very funny little interaction. I do appreciate that. Awkward time to meet the parents. Sure. Meet
It's
the
never a good
parents.
time to meet parents.
Meet the Parents. Classic movie. Anyway, I'm going to stop trying to derail us by talking about random ass movies.
Please do. Just continue.
good.
I love it.
Good, let's do this.
And then at the end, we get Lex Luthor vibes. That's kind of what I got. I was like, oh, it's going to be Lex Luthor because I don't know DC. And I was like, that's the only bad guy it could possibly be.
Yeah.
It's an evil bad guy behind the desk that... I'm really bad at remembering the names of this one. Locke.
Locke is the dude, yeah.
That's who Locke is working for. And I'm like, it has to be Lex Luthor at this point. As I know who else is rich and
A bald Max
a bold
Lord.
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. And then we swing right into issue 4, which I have to say it now, my favorite issue because it's all set in Australia and it's wonderful.
Yes. That's good.
I will say just at the end of issue 3,
Yes.
there's just a great joke that continues a couple of times, comes up a couple of times, of everyone disappearing without Harley, and Harley going, "They Batmaned!"
Yeah.
Great payoff.
Oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Ben,
Ben, what? How did you miss that one?
you're the old man Steve Rogers of the week.
Oh my
Dude.
They call it back as well.
They do?
Yeah, they do it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. In that issue. It's okay. It's okay.
Ben! You missed that one. That's hilarious.
It's fine.
Sad.
Love it. I love this episode. I love this episode of the podcast. This is great.
Issue 4, we go to Portland, Victoria. We're in the best state, but also the middle of nowhere in the best state. I had to go on Google Maps to find out where this one was. It's
I have no idea where Portland is, but
very, very West Victoria, like almost at the border on the coast. In a random bar. This is what I was talking about earlier when I said this is the best conversation and it will only make sense. Like, it'll make sense to everyone in Australia, but even more so to people like me who've grown up in Victoria. We meet Captain Boomerang, or meet Harkness. Can't remember his first name. It's probably here somewhere. I can't see it. That's fine. Moving on. And he starts talking about... hang on. I'm just going to bring out the page, and I'm just going to read it, because it's wonderful. So he's with his friend in the bar, and he's like, "Tim, I need to borrow your ute." And Tim's like, whoa, how much have you had?
I love that he calls it a ute and not a truck
Yeah,
as well.
totally.
Very
Not a pickup
Australian
truck.
writing.
Yep. And then Boomerang's like, "Seriously, now you're worried about me obeying the law because I just killed a lot of people. Tim's like, sure, but I'm still not letting you drink and drive. Boomerang says, okay, I had one standard drink when I got here, 2 pints since, got here at 2, so... And then Tim says, so you're under 0.5. Great.
So good.
Good. Yeah.
For real.
Just amazing.
That is 100% how any like TAC ad plays out down here in Victoria, or like NRMA or whatever you've got in your other states. That's just how they all play out, and it's wonderful. It's such an Australian conversation as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing the calculations.
There's a joke a little bit later. Where it's like, come on, USA, like catch up and use the metric system like the rest of the world. I just have a note saying Tom Taylor had a field day with this issue.
100%. Yeah,
absolutely loved it.
I have that note as well. Tom Taylor loves writing this issue so clearly. It's so good. But yeah, Boomerang shows up, kills a bunch of guys with his boomerang, as he does.
Does do that.
Dolphin Pants says Boomerang is a top bloke, which I don't know I agree with. Again, weird
Dolphin
take.
Pants, I don't know if you'd switched on this.
No.
You
and Ben.
Yeah. I'm not switched on at all today, my goodness. And then we head to Esperance, South Australia. Very fancy name for South Australia. Which famously not that great. And the Nullarbor.
Only has docks.
And the Nullarbor, which is a road and a plane. PLAIN. Using my deep, vast Australian knowledge here. Switching back, Dolphin Pants tells us about a little bit of calculation that he did. So basically what happens, I believe, is that Boomerang headed South Australia, then Locke tracked them into South Australia, but then didn't send anyone after him, which is very weird because, as Dolphin Pants points out, he spent 2 hours and 22 minutes in South Australia that they followed him via satellite for without stopping him, but then the moment he says something, they send someone straight in. Interesting. It's an interesting choice. Thank you, Dolphin Pants, for picking up that inconsistency, because I wouldn't have. I barely even noticed that was a thing that happened. So thank you. It is very weird. I like that this is just an Aussie road trip, this issue. Big fan of the trip down the Nullarbor.
I did write that a lot of this issue was just an exposition dump.
Oh yeah, totally.
It's a fun one, but like nothing really happens.
It'd be exposition dump. They're basically talking about how they want to fight back against Locke, and they're trying to get Harley and Deadshot involved in it, and they're maybe going to kill Harley, but they don't, because she decides to help them out.
He also has another good Aussie joke of getting in the car and being like, "There's a wheel!" And it's
Yep, the classic joke. Because we drive on the other side of the road, not the wrong side of the road.
Not the wrong.
The other side.
The other.
But yeah, it's a great road trip. There's like a lot of sunsets again and everything, and this was the point where I was like, I keep feeling that Bruno just wanted to draw a bunch of pretty skies across all the comics, and then I found out Bruno didn't do this issue. But it's good, and like it looks like he did. Honestly, I'll bring up this is one of the pretty sunsets we got here, and but like in the style above, that still very much looks like his art.
Totally.
But then this sunset is like a full just art piece.
Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
It looks like it's a different
like
painting, and then they just chucked some comic book stuff over the top.
Yeah, totally.
With the car on the cliff, they could have taken the car and the cliff away.
I think
and you could hang that in a museum.
That's what they've done, and they've just added some lens flare and stuff. It's very cool.
Is it just a picture of the ocean?
I just noticed here as well, they've got a little Aries, like looks like one of the birds initially, but is like flying over the top amongst all the birds. It's very cool. And yeah, very good little road trip. I think there's a bit here as well where Harley goes into Harley is in the car, is saying, "Are we there yet?" a bunch. That's right. And then Wink winks or blinks, depending on which you choose. Wink winks her out of the car, and comes back in, and everyone's like, go get her. And then she brings her back, and Harley's just like, oh my god, so many emus.
Yeah. Wink's like, oh, I left her with some nature.
Yeah, totally.
And my brain reading that, I was like, if this is in the film, how would it be said? Because obviously Harley Quinn's American.
Yeah.
So the Americans are stupid and would say emu. But Harley Quinn is Margot Robbie, who is an Australian.
Who's Australian.
So would she fix it? Or would she say it like an American?
Yeah, totally. Man,
it'd be an interesting conundrum.
Interesting.
Destroyed my brain there, Will. So I was already struggling today, but that's really gone now.
Yeah.
I was a bit sad though. I haven't ever seen an emu in the wild. I'm a bit sad Harley has. I've seen them at zoos, but the fact that Harley got to see them before me, probably a few too many. I don't know if I want to be among that many emus.
It's a lot. Yeah, I saw a bunch of kangaroos jumping across the road when I went up to. Where did I go? To Hunter Valley. And I was like, oh, so cute. And I watched them, and there was like 5 of them. And 4 of them nailed it. The 5th one leapt off the grass onto the road and just went boom and slid onto his stomach and then got himself back up and then kept bouncing. It was like, dude, no.
Damn. How embarrassing.
And because how they bounce, they're so fucking focused on the next. So it was just like this stack, and he was just like, I'm fine. Don't look at me.
It's good to know that even kangaroos have those moments where they're like, they stack and they're like, nothing happened.
I
always wonder, do animals, this is off topic,
feel embarrassment?
Do animals feel embarrassment? Because dogs and cats and stuff, they try and jump on stuff and they miss. Do they feel embarrassed?
When they're pooping in public and they're just like this?
They definitely feel some embarrassment, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe not to the extent that we do, like rampant anxiety that we have. But very positive.
But then dogs and cats can get anxiety if you
they actually can. That is true.
Yeah, they can let flat out get anxiety.
Yeah.
So maybe.
There you go. Really, we're having the important conversations here tonight.
Yeah,
that's right.
I think so.
Podcast again. This episode is the best. I love it.
Emus or emus. Dolphin Pants says emus are fucking scary. Poor Harley. So clearly, Dolphin Pants, lover of dolphins and sharks and pants, has had run-ins with emus.
And pants.
He likes pants.
So please tell us about your emu endeavors, Dolphin Pants.
Please.
But yeah, I wrote at a point because I think so we've got obviously Airy and what's her name? Man, I'm really struggling with the names tonight. Airy and Wink, obviously in a queer relationship, and then we find out that Osita, did I get it right that time?
Osita, yep.
Osita also was in a gay relationship, and my note here is yes, more gay shit, and then and then a second later it's sad gay shit. Yeah, very sad.
It's like a Disney film.
It is like a Disney film, but at least they have like the happy queer relationship, so I'm less upset with it this time. But yeah. That kind of brought the tone of the issue down, and then the tone is brought even further down when Boomerang just burns the face off run fast guy. Jog.
That's
the one. My note here is, God damn it, Boomerang, why can't you be cool and throw boomerangs? Why do you have to be an asshole who throws boomerangs? I was also thinking with because obviously we have Wink in this, and I was thinking about the Suicide Squad game and how he has that weird blink to his boomerang abilities, and I was like, it just combined these two characters.
That's a good point.
I'm still very confused by how they're going to make that make sense in the game. But it's video games.
It's a video game.
They can do it. They gave.
I love that every mission they seem to go on. Well, I guess this sort of gets explained a little bit later.
Yeah.
Every mission that they go on, they're doing something that is personal to them.
Yeah.
So it's like they know, which I think you find out later.
Yeah.
They like purposefully got captured.
Yeah.
To go around and do all this because Boomerang
to
killed
catch up with Boomerang.
Osita's we see his
Partner.
girlfriend,
Yeah.
partner,
Totally.
and and then there was like the saving of
Yeah.
the other
Prez.
ones, president
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's like
Yeah. They're
it's
very-
it's such a cool, interesting plan, and it just really goes to show again how well they work together and how much better of a team they are than
they're such a good team. I want like
most comic book teams.
I want like a Revolutionaries comic now.
Yeah.
This would be so cool. Also because they're like from all over the world and stuff as well. In all their little rundowns they have where they were born and stuff. It's very cool.
Like very good multicultural and queer relationships and all this stuff. Like there's so many different scenarios. It's cool.
I think I really like that he's created some new characters for the Nightwing stuff as well, but I really like that he like Tom has been clearly given this license to just create new canon stuff, and he's really good at it. Like all these characters I love almost immediately, which is really very impressive because you're introducing me to like 8 new people all at once. It's very good.
You feel like you know them really well in these first 4 to 5 issues.
Yeah,
and they're also like visually very distinct as well.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't written so uniquely, like they're all very like who you're looking at.
Yeah,
Which is
totally.
good.
All right. Last note on issue 4 because we have 2 more to go, and it's been a while already. I am just going to bring up. I did have the little in the car thing set up with Harley at the bottom. Just there's so many emus as we'll like point out.
It's great.
But yeah, no, I love just like using the same panel and stuff, but just bring different characters in. Very good, very good. Anyway,
I just want to. So can you just quickly go back for a second?
Let's go back for a second.
I feel like there's like the tiniest little bit of like when you see the word Clint written in the comics and the thing. I'm definitely saying the word wank.
Yes. Yes. I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, I'm like, wank? No, it's wink. It's wink.
I do see wank in there.
Yeah.
Wink.
I wasn't seeing that at all, but thanks, because now I will. I'm going to read the last 5 issues of these, and I'm going to see all that.
I commend you to wank, as the great Red Skull once said.
And I was actually just thinking also on the Boomerang Suicide Squad game thing, because we need another tangent to go back on. That they gave Kate Bishop a random blink power in Avengers, so it's clearly they just do those things.
Yeah, let's chuck them in. Yeah.
Glad they didn't give her a wank power in
That's
Avengers.
true. You don't want that in the middle of a battlefield.
Very glad they didn't.
Be a very different game.
Yeah.
We
Kind of a free weekend for that one. Well, maybe you need a free weekend.
free weekend to get.
I love how silent it got, and then Will was just like, "I've got it.
I got a zinger.
I know what to say."
Issue 5.
Got a free weekend to get it done. Issue 5
Get her done.
is good. It's a good issue.
It is a good issue.
They all are. It's a good comic. We return to Jog catching on fire at the start here. We learn that Jog hates running, which would suck being a speedster. Didn't see that coming. That's the Quicksilver joke.
It's good. You didn't see it coming.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. Anyway, then I did want to say I brought up the panel here because there's a shot of Aerie flying above the flames, and for some reason I got real Phoenix vibes from it, even though I don't think they meant it. And the other thing I wanted to say about this page is Boomerang's boomerang looks really weird, but it's kind of cool how it's like warped because of.
It looks like the Nike tick.
Yeah, totally. It looks like a really badly done Nike tick.
Yeah,
it's true.
The one thing I will say about this start bit is that I find it kind of unbelievable that they wouldn't just kill Boomerang. Like they clearly don't like him, and they have issues with him. I guess it was, now thinking about it, makes sense because they need to get back to the guy so they could kill the guy.
Yeah.
But they didn't end up killing the guy. Deadshot did. So I don't know. It's just a bit weird. They seem to really hate him, and they just let him off really
the wonky plan. Yeah.
But then so then going on to the next thing, he does just die, right? Does Boomerang die? I'm a bit confused. Because they have the shot at the bottom of one of the panels where which has, I will say, very cool. I don't have the panel brought up, but Locke's face is like distorted in like an anime way, like the evil anime face thing. Where like, I'll see if I can bring it up in the book here. It's very cool.
I feel like he didn't die. In my head, he didn't die because they shoot Zebra Man to bring down the force field to then kill Locke.
That's what I think, but then I'm going to bring it up here. Anyway, so he's got his little face there, and then it gets more like anime scary and gets distorted and stuff with all like the lines around it. And then there's the bang. And then
I thought that was Zuberman. Deborahman. It's so late. We're all so tired.
Did Zebra get shot? Oh, because Zebra got a little. Oh, Zebra got shot to bring.
Man, did you read this comic?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Wow.
Did you read?
The whole point?
Wow. It's Zebra. Oh my god!
Because Locke constantly has Zebra Man at all times at least whenever the Suicide Squad are around. At all times, putting a force field around him to protect him because he knows that they will just kill him.
No, I thought that Zebra Man was finally having a good turn. I was very happy for Zebra Man.
Well, he does in the end, but he's basically being forced. He's got a thing in his neck.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
you're right.
They do it, and that breaks it. But yeah, they seem like they're on good terms.
Yeah.
I finally understand what it means, what it feels like to be you in these podcasts. Yeah.
There you go. I'm always tired and never read things properly. There you go.
There is an amazing joke here. This one it's coming up on the screen right now. The freaking Comics Code Authority.
Yes.
Made me laugh so hard.
It is great.
Good.
Yeah. For those who aren't in the know, the Comics Code Authority was like a thing in like the 80s, 70s,
probably
like around that period, where basically all the comics had to like comply to a certain level of kid friendliness. And so obviously with the man's head being blown off here, it's not very
point blank range.
Point blank range. But instead of having the approved by the Comics Code Authority, it has approved by the authority of DC Comics, which is very, very lovely.
So good.
Yeah, very similar, basically the same stamp thing.
Yeah. And I
so
love
cool.
I just noticed his face at the bottom is just like, you don't even, it's just like smoking.
Just smoke.
Yeah, that's so cool. And in this issue as well, they also killed Jog, which I felt was very brutal, because they basically keep him alive only to just like kill him later in the issue, which is, I guess, in terms of comic deaths, is the way to do it, because it's a bit of a misdirect. You always expect that like they keep him alive, staying alive, but I man, it hit me hard, and I've only known this guy for like 4 issues at this point. But it was sad. I don't know. Did you feel it was sad? I felt it was sad.
Yeah. Like, especially because, we just found out his backstory and stuff like that, which as you go issue to issue, you find more about each of these members' backstory and why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah, he's got little
but I feel like
in his glasses here of the backstory as well. Which
which I think a bit of which we saw in previous panels.
Yeah.
But they almost act as their own individual panels because it's 2 panels of glass. But I feel like the holding off from killing him gives him a much more honorable death here.
Totally.
Because previously, like, he just ran through and it was a bit like they were like, don't do it. And then Boomerang like blew up some cars or whatever around him and that burned his face. Or grenades or whatever.
Yeah.
But he saves everyone. Except himself. Like he makes it around, is able to save every other single person on the team except himself, and then he doesn't have to run anymore.
Yeah, totally.
Very good.
Kind of it's a cool like
100%. It's very
full
cool.
circle of a single issue. Like
and it's a full circle, like the page.
Hey, we're back.
I was gonna that was very well said and heartfelt, Josh. You were like, we learned all about his backstory, and I was gonna make the joke, and we also learned that he drunk water just from that one.
True. True. We also know. I almost wish that or hope that there's stuff like this in the film. Like, obviously, there's going to be a few deaths that are going to be played for heavy laughs. Like, Michael Rooker is probably going to be in it for maybe 30 seconds before he blows up. But yeah, like there's going to be people that die. I hope they have scenes similar to this in the film.
I think I read in a earlier review of it that I was like, it's actually one of the most heartfelt superhero films.
Oh, that too, yeah.
The most bloody.
Good.
So I'm very keen. Very keen. Can't wait. I just noticed as well, not to harp on this page too much, but in one of these panels, he's like, there's a kangaroo, and I assume it's a bushfire, and he's basically speeding around to put out the bushfire, which is very cool. So and it goes back to these kids actually just being good people who are fighting back against in climate change and all that stuff.
Yeah. Was this is this the Aboriginal guy?
No, this isn't the Aboriginal guy. I think he's from Cameroon and France.
That's right.
Then there's the Aboriginal girl who is Thylacine. Also very cool. I haven't mentioned her at all. What a cool name. She's styled after a thylacine. I love thylacines. Tasmanian tigers, for those who don't know the name thylacine. The distinct, I was going to say a distinct animal, an extinct animal of Australia.
what a great either or.
Yeah. Distinct or extinct.
You're either dead or you're amazing.
That's a YouTube series right there.
Yeah. Dead or amazing. I want you to bring them back to me, dead or amazing.
But yeah, no, Thylacine's very cool. I don't even what are Thylacine's powers? She pops up a few times. Heightened sense and hunter. That's right. She just pops up behind people just out of nowhere. Does the Batman
just
thing.
Sniffs them.
Yeah. But yeah, I had a Tasmanian tiger soft toy that I slept with for a bunch of my childhood. I love
cute.
Tasmanian tigers, so this is very cool.
Nice.
Also, I love that it's an Indigenous Australian. Makes me happy.
I did also now that you've pointed that out. It just reminds me that I think just after this, they end up attacking the person that was the one that pushed the button in that last frame to kill Jog.
Yes.
And when they approach him, they're like, "You just killed a guy that put out a fire in the Amazon that you guys started and left to burn."
Oh.
And then when I saw that, I'm like, "Is that the fire? No, because that's not the Amazon."
But he would be putting out Australian bushfires as well.
So he's doing it he's doing that all over the place. Probably because he's with this team, and there is an Australian on the team, so they're probably traveling to all their different countries trying to help their own people.
Totally. That's very cool. Very cool.
Good dude. Dead dude.
But yeah, that's, I think, oh yes, we have, this is not the end of issue 5.
No.
Because we still have the big reveal, which, I don't know, fell flat, because I don't know.
Just another dude.
So they reveal that it's Cord. As Dolphin Pants says, "Who is Ted Cord? I feel like this reveal should mean something to me, but I have no clue." And so I had to look it up.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. Josh, you want to say who it is?
Yeah, so it's the second Blue Beetle.
Yeah. Again, makes even less sense.
Yeah, it's very random. I guess if you know DC pretty well, then it's if we had a reveal of something in an MCU movie, we'd probably be like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome." Yeah. But because we just don't know DC, this just didn't work. Yeah, stuff like that. But I did find an interesting note that is kind of cool. I really like it. I think will as well. Ted Cord, yes, the second Blue Beetle, created by Steve Ditko in 1966, the creator of Spider-Man.
Amazing.
Artistic creator of Spider-Man.
How weird. What a small world.
One of those characters is really blown up, and the other one is
is Ted Cord.
Ted Cord.
But he's so I'm very confused because I looked him up and I was like, who? And I was like, oh, he's one of the Blue Beetles. Surely he has an evil turn or something. I couldn't find anything about it. He's just Ted Cord, a rich guy who is also a Blue Beetle. So there you go.
He has Cord Industries too. So it seems like the Blue Beetle is basically just budget Iron Man.
Or Batman.
Or Palmatech from Atom and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then we get teased with some Justice League action. And Dolphin Pants rounds it out by saying banger issue. I think it's banger issue. It's very good.
The opening kind of action sequence gave me, I know you haven't seen it, Josh, I don't know if you saw it, Ben, the latest Mortal Kombat. Did you see it?
No, I was just thinking because I saw on Google Play today, because I have a bunch of, you do the Google surveys, I have a bunch of money saved up on that.
Yeah.
And I just found out today that Mortal Kombat's like dropped finally from like the $30 price to $8. So I'm gonna watch it soon.
I thought it was really, really fun.
Yeah,
and
did
it
you?
just
Hell yeah.
It's
Awesome.
super fun.
Yeah.
And just the whole action sequence reminded me, of course, of Kano. There's a moment in the film that kind of in an Aussie setting, using like a junkyard kind of thing. It had a lot of vibes of that, and it was good fun.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'm gonna watch that hopefully very soon.
Yeah,
because I wanted to see it when it was in cinemas, but then lockdowns and all that stuff. So yeah.
Jump on it.
Something in my throat.
A larynx.
A larynx, yes, that's what I have in my throat. Well done, William. All right, final issue. Oh boy, we've gotten there. We did it. Issue 6.
We did it.
As the guy said, we probably could, to me before the recording, we probably could have stopped at issue 5. It would have been a nice way to tie it up. But we didn't. I love this issue. It is a very good issue.
It's good fun, yeah.
It's all in Gotham, which I'm not always a big fan of when you like pull in like the Batman or like do like a random tie-in issue. It can feel a bit forced, but this is very good. This is very good. So it starts off with all the guys getting their explosion chips out, which I'm very interested to see how that all eventuates across the rest of the comics.
It's like the bit.
Yeah, that's the bit. It's the Suicide. It's the Suicide Squad.
Yes. Yes.
Jamiroquai.
Yes. Love it.
I'm just gonna have the freaking title banner be Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad,
please.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. So they all get their bit out, their thing out.
The bomb. They got their bomb out.
They got their bit out. That's what happens when Kate Bishop drops in Avengers.
Damn it.
They got their chip out. Good. They got their chip out of their brains.
Chip.
It's great. We've got the internet thing to post now.
Yeah.
This is the part. This is it.
Yeah.
This is the part that you post to get people to listen.
That's what you post. That's my job. That's not my job for this. That's Will's job for this.
No.
That's my job for my
No one gets paid for this.
No one gets paid for this.
They get their chip out.
They get their chip out. That's the end of the issue. That's fine. That's the end. That's it. That's
pretty much it. Yeah.
They blow up.
They blow up. God, yeah, no. I can't get past. Why can't I get past them getting their chips out? They get their chips out at a really grimy place with this random doctor. There's some joke about it being the same doctor with different names. I don't get it. It makes no sense. Anyway, Batman shows up.
There's a lore thing in there somewhere.
Batman's in his Bat Cave, which is, the thing Batman tends to be in quite a lot, in front of a bounty, and he seems to go after them. And I'm like, Batman don't do it for money. Batman got money.
Yeah, he's got better things to do as well, surely.
Yeah, surely.
In my head, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
For
wrong.
For whatever reason, in my head, he set the bounty. I don't know why.
No.
I don't know. I hadn't thought about it much. Obviously, it's freaking Steve Ditko that did it.
Yeah.
Set the bounty, but that makes more sense. That he just saw it and was like, okay. But that is weird that he's doing it for money. I just went, he has, what is it, like $25 million? Like, he'd probably chuck that up and just be like, someone go kill those guys.
Have some.
Yeah. No, he wouldn't.
No.
He'd let Batman just give away his money. Anyway, I wrote here, Batman, ! God, we should do DC Comics more often. I don't know. Maybe I should adjust that to we should just do Batman comics more often, because I feel like that is the best. Like, it's just it was so cool having Batman join in this. Batman isn't even like that cool all the time, but he's pretty cool, and it was cool having him in this to show up for sure. It's just like, obviously I like reading Marvel and stuff a lot, but there's something so satisfying about when you're reading a comic and then Batman just shows up.
Totally.
It's Batman.
And especially the Batman in this is that kind of it's the way that a character is written when it's not their run of comic.
Yeah, totally.
There's this unique tone that always feels like them. It's like when Tony Stark turns up in the Black Widow run, and it was like he wouldn't talk like this in his comic, but it
Yeah.
makes sense here. It's like a lighter version of the character, whilst also retaining everything about
For
them.
some reason, I
Yeah.
read him in this as the Harley Quinn Batman.
Totally, 100%
Yes.
that Batman.
Which is hilarious because that Batman is inept, and this one wasn't actually that bad.
Yeah.
But I think it's to do with the whole dog bit. Obviously, so that he has a big fight with Actually, let's not skip ahead. Let's go through it in order because we've gone sidetracked from skipping ahead. Basically, the Tom they find a dog, and I think whatever the one with the cat beanie says likes the dog, so decides to pick up the dog. And my note here was that Tom Taylor loves putting dogs in comics. Nightwing, they give him a dog, just like in Matt Fraction Hawkeye. There's just dogs everywhere. Nothing like a little dog to make a comic more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Also, to act as not cannon fodder, meat shield, but kind of
Little bit.
of a meat shield.
Little bit.
But yeah, so they get ambushed around a truck, and I'm going to bring this one up because this is one of those moments where I noticed the little detail that Josh was talking about. It's very, very slight, but in the picture of the rear view mirror, you can just see the rocket as it's coming towards them. I thought that was very neat.
Very cool.
That's sick.
Yeah, so I liked that a lot. Very neat.
I like the headlights on the grass because there's like a nice rippled texture to the way it's lighting up the grass. That's very nice.
Yeah.
There's some nice stuff.
Very nice, very nice. And then Zebra Man MVP does his force field, finally gets his moment. Just for Zebra.
Oh yeah.
And my next note was just Batman being a creepy ass behind Harley. That's why I think that's how I got the Harley Quinn Batman vibes from like this little bit where he just shows up, and then I think the next page is like him like jumping between the different sides, and that's where they get the callback to the joke that I missed. But yeah, oh man, Batman just doing his creepy best, just standing right behind Harley.
So close to it.
Yeah.
So close.
Oh god. And now unfortunately all I can think of when I think of that Batman, the Harley Quinn Batman, is the Catwoman stuff.
Totally. Yeah. Always gets back there.
It always gets back there. But
That's
anyway,
You get their bits out.
they get their bits out. And here's some bits of onomatopoeia, which
so good.
which is very good.
I didn't even freaking notice that.
Yeah.
all the different
That is
fonts
so
and
sick.
styles. Yeah.
1960s Batman for
Uh,
sure.
Yeah.
You zap.
Yeah, the buff is 100% like looking back. It's almost like Looney Tunes-esque as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So good.
got swish, pow, orc, whack, crash, zap, boff, and then wink.
Wank.
And wink. Wank. I do like that there's a couple of shots in this where they get a hit in,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool. Like they actually, even though it's freaking Batman, they do punch him or knee him or whatever that thing is in the middle.
Ties back to that thing you were saying earlier where it's like they are a coordinated team. So they're not like...
Yeah.
And it looks like Thylacine actually gets a hit in. So good on you, Thylacine.
Yeah.
That's the whack in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do like the wink in the bottom corner and she's just like, hi, big fan. Which is very good.
Spider-Man.
We're basically, I think we're just going to be flicking through a bunch of these because it's now just like good Batman action.
This is like the best action in the series so far.
Totally.
Such a cool,
so well illustrated, colored, shaded, everything. And it's like I think I talked about how like I really love Bruno and like the colorist and stuff earlier. And I think it's just because of how versatile they are with their art. Like they can do everything so well. Like this as a fight scene just flows so well. It does, now that you said it, it does very much feel like it has like some 60s Batman vibes as well, which I do like.
Yeah.
But I think as well. Sorry, you go, Will.
No, I was going to say that they intersperse like full color frames and also like the bottom right, it's like gradients, and they just do a great job of going, you know what, this doesn't need too much detail here. We can just illustrate the fight and then just leave the background. And then the thing at the top, which is that massive onomatopoeia, it's so sick.
I think I think I messaged Will before I read this, possibly or something, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like we could have stopped at issue 5 before I even read this comic. And like we were saying before, like we almost definitely could have, but upon reading this, I was like, this issue was sick. It was like, this was a great issue. I'm very glad that I read this because it was just, there's some good playfulness. There's this bunch of pages. It
makes me so excited to read the rest, actually, because like. The first 5 issues was such a good arc that rounded itself out well, but this was just like such a nice interstitial kind of thing, and it makes me like, I'm pretty sure the last 5 issues will be their own arc as well. So I'm kind of glad we did end up tucking this one in just as like that fun Batman issue.
Yeah, for sure.
At the end, you kind of see here he does the stop, and that's where you get the payoff for the dog, where it's like dog truce. Which I love it. It's a cool little way to end the fight. And it does the little thing here I mentioned earlier where there's like a little bit of depth of field blur on like the batarangs and stuff. It's just, it kind of is a bit jarring, but at the same time, it's just like cool. It's cool.
Good art.
The other thing I like about, not to harp on Bruno Redondo too much, but he does a lot of dot shading, which I don't see as much in comics.
Yeah, I did notice that occasionally throughout this.
There's a lot of dot shading, which I just love. I think dot shading is really cool.
But I do love in this on this page in particular as well. Deadshot gets hit with one of the batarangs, and he's just like, "Those things hurt, man."
They made me like this like boring white guy version of Deadshot, which good job. It was easily the least interesting thing in the first few issues. Also, just like Buttman punching in front of the moon.
The moon, it's such an intense shot. But also the momentum is confusing because like he's currently his trajectory is I can't stop.
Yeah, like he is punching Deadshot. That dog is
dead.
They just hold him the little dog up. Somehow Batman managed to stop himself.
Very close.
There's also a line here. There's a couple lines that are just wonderful. Deadshot just owns Batman in this whole conversation. The first one is like, Batman's like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "I was pardoned." And Batman says, "Not by me." And then Deadshot says, "That's not how the law works. You're breaking the law now."
Totally.
Which is great. And then on the next page, do it for your daughter. She deserves a less dangerous path. Do it for you seriously lecturing me about putting a kid on a dangerous path? Have you met any of your Robins?
Very good.
I did love earlier as well where he's like, "What are you doing in Gotham?" He's like, "I didn't even want to be here. This town sucks."
Good.
Yeah, so good. And then the final page. So good. Such a good finish. So obviously, it's basically, I think they're just sitting at like a train station, right, or something. I think.
Like a bus depot or something.
And it's basically Batman's just like, "My car's gone," and it's like it was locked and impenetrable. And Deadshot says, "She's a teleporter, also a thief. You want me to call an Uber?" And then Batman says, "You want me to call you an ambulance?" And then Deadshot just leaves.
It's very good.
It's so good. And I only just noticed the last panel there.
The little bit at the bottom as well. We assume Wink in the Batmobile. Going woohoo. And the next issue, Deadshot aims for home.
So he kills his daughter.
I will say, I like. There's kind of like a through line on Wink driving that and having a lot of fun because previously she says, "I'm a big fan." So this is like her getting a joyride in the Batmobile. It's like,
totally.
If you're a big fan of that and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I have this thing."
But also just the dog. Just they keep the dog. I like the idea that Deadshot is taking the dog home. It's a very cute dog.
Be interesting to see how it's utilized, if it is utilized in the other comics, or if it's a one-off dog.
But yeah, man, good job, guys. We got through it.
Good job.
It only took
it was a journey.
2 hours.
That was a good. It was a good run. It was a good little arc as well. It's definitely got me hyped to possibly read more. But more so just made me go, oh yeah, the concept of Suicide Squad is really cool.
It's very good.
And I'm excited for what Mr. Gunn has in store for us.
Yes.
Yeah, and judging by everything that's coming out about it, it's a good time. I think
Pretty
I
good.
read last night,
Good.
97% certified
Yeah,
fresh or something on Rotten Tomatoes.
Ooh,
So that's pretty good.
Not bad. Jeez.
So, hopefully very good. Yeah.
There's nothing else to say,
There's
man.
nothing else to say.
a great comic.
We've quite literally said it all this comic cast.
We have
We have every word you could think of. We've said it.
Every word.
some that aren't.
Bad Amnesia. We've got it.
Suicide Squad.
The squad.
Wank. We've got it.
Yeah.
Got them all.
Well, yeah, that's Suicide Squad. We did it. We got through it. It's very fun. Where next month is September, and that means that Shang-Chi is coming out.
Yes.
And now that we're back on track with like when we're recording these, it's going to line up pretty well that in a month's time we'll do a Shang-Chi, and we're going to do there's not a lot of Shang-Chi comics, I'm going to be honest. Initially, when I made this list, which is at the start of the year, I tried to like map the year out, and it was scraping the bottom of the barrel to find a list of them. Luckily, Marvel released a bunch of like a 5-issue run of Shang-Chi last year and this year.
Yep.
So we're going to do that one. It's the 2020 run. It's on Marvel Unlimited, which we know a lot of you have. So use that if you can, or in your digitals or your stores, or your digital stores. And if you don't want to go to a digital store, but you maybe want to support Each to Their Own on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/each to their own, where for only $3, you can get access to this super secret Discord, where we chat about comics. Dolphin Pants gives us his breakdowns of every one of these comics, and you could too. Jade couldn't do this one because we had a very short turnaround.
We did.
Which is fine.
Well, we thought we did.
We thought we did, and then
the time got extended, and we forgot to tell Jade.
Yeah.
It's just like a real lockdown. You think it's going to be one thing, and then it just keeps on going for an hour and 53 minutes.
Oh, God.
Apparently so.
I got to listen to this all back again.
And if you want to listen to it, you can head on over to youtube.com/each to their own, where you can see it. But if you want to hear,
yeah, you said listen for the YouTube
well, I wanted
one.
a fucking link, Joshua. Fuck off. But if you want to hear it, you can go to Spotify, you can go to Google, you can go to so many different places. I post it everywhere. It's actually like it costs so much, so like I think you should click like all the places you can listen to it.
Please
So
do. Please do. Make it worth it for us.
Podbean.
That thing?
Well, I actually use Buzzsprout.
Fun fact, for all my podcasts, I listen to them on YouTube in background play. I'm probably the worst possible consumer in that regard.
It's great.
But yeah. Anyway, and the final one, if you do twitch.tv/ETTOnline for streams. There's ETTO streams.
So good.
Of what kind? Sometimes figures.
Sometimes figures.
Sometimes not. That's all.
Did we? Sorry, again, this is me just jumping in. Did we actually say what issues of Shang-Chi we're going to read?
It's all of them, 1 to 5. There's only 5.
It's a short series.
So yeah,
2020s.
2020.
Yeah.
Yes, we did say that.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
We definitely said that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we definitely said that.
Yeah.
My apologies.
But yeah,
I did zone out then.
That's okay. ETTOnline, twitch.tv/ETTOnline. Again, to see things sometimes.
We're doing things. We're just doing things.
Twitch.tv/ArgonTV to see other things at other times. Sometimes the same time, but I try to avoid that.
Yeah. That's usually our fault, I think.
Yeah, but you know,
we're just like, we're just going to do a Tuesday stream.
Yeah, this is
well, Ben streaming.
This is, no big deal. Anyway, or twitch.tv/backpocket if you want me and Will to get paid. Patreon.com/backpocket, but give money to Edo first.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And buy Big Ant Games.
Big Ant Games.
Get me paid, please.
Cricket.
Yeah, just wait a couple of years and it'll go on PlayStation Plus, so it's fine.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. August this month. Go get it. Go get your free games.
August, this month of the comic cast.
Free. Yeah.
You're holding yourself to that now, Ben.
Well, it's supposed to come. This is supposed to come out by the Suicide Squad.
I know. I make the thumbnail, Benjamin.
Was that, I thought that was a legitimate, like that you meant to do that.
No, I didn't.
Oh yes, I love this.
I'm supposed to get this out by the movie, so I'm holding myself to that. So that gives me 3 days. Hell yeah.
Good.
Gonna do it.
Good.
But
luck.
anyway, until next time, dunno.
Who have you been?
I'm not anyone.
All right.
I am gas.
I am wank. I got nothing.
Here he comes at Christmas.